All right, so let me ask you about your inspirations. To me, it feels like it has a little bit of like 60s or 70s or something very expressive. Like, what was the impetus behind that design direction?
Yeah, I think this past year I've been really making an effort to just step outside of current design trends and take a little bit of a dive through history in search of some inspiration that isn't too derivative of just whatever's hot on the internet. And yeah, I've gotten really stuck on the 70s, I guess, the whole like Lou Ballin studio, all that stuff, all of his cronies and the really incredible lettering work they were doing. I think there's just an expression there and like a life to the letters that is hard to find anywhere else. I've taken a couple of script classes from Ken Barber in the past year, and that's been a pretty revelatory experience for me. It's made it difficult to not practice that sort of thing every day and try to work that into my own projects, you know? So I think just the 25-year milestone, it felt like the theme for this needed to be just celebration, you know, and something that felt sort of historic too. So, you know, trying to do lettering that feels like a party, you know, feels welcoming and also feels intergenerational in the way that TypeCon is, you know.
Did any of this come across in the brief given to you, or was it like, hey, you have total freedom, whatever you feel like, it's 25, and that's pretty much the only parameter?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
total
what it is.
freedom, which is fun and scary at the same time.
Okay,
you know?
and why is it scary?
Just overwhelming, trying to the possibility of missing the right idea or overlooking something. But obviously, you know, I'll always accept an invitation to do whatever I want, you know.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the format? So I've seen it a couple different times. There seems to be a horizontal format. There is a vertical format, which is like 25 in 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
Are there just two formats, or are there more?
I think the third one is TypeCon 25.
Okay.
And the purpose with that is really just to keep things from feeling too repetitive and from a functional standpoint to make sure that sort of free-form lettering can work on different surfaces and different applications. So, you know, half of it is utility and half of it was just sort of keeping things interesting, you know,
Got it.
keeping things engaging.
So outside of just the mark, how much was it expanded into more of a system? Because I see that you did do the name tags. What other parts of the application were involved?
So I think typeface choice was the second big challenge, you know? And I started with the lettering, sort of figuring that would carry most of the weight visually. That would sort of set the precedent for what the feel was overall. And then from there, I started doing a lot of exploring and seeing what paired well with those letters. And yeah, ultimately settled on Nick Sherman's Hex Franklin, which is, yeah, it's just awesome. It feels sort of 70s in the same way that the word mark does. And it's also just very useful. You know, there's a width axis, there's a sort of a display version, more tightly spaced, and a more functional text version. So it really could just work for anything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the color, though?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the third year in a row in Portland, it's starting to feel like a local thing, you know? I know it's not forever, but I've been loving it out here. And I thought the colors might want to reflect some of the spirit of the city, you know, and this being Rose City. That was sort of the impetus for going with these reds and these greens, and then just making sure that there was enough contrast in the mix. So sticking to like 3 colors, keeping things from getting too overwhelming or muddled, but still a nice punchy sense of like, I don't know, floralness.
Were the letter forms inspired by the rose at all, or I mean,
A little bit.
A little
yeah,
bit. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and bulbous. you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the shape of the mark. It's very organic. It feels like you said, celebration. And now that I think about it, it feels like floral arrangement. Feels like a
Yeah.
gift when you look at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, I was trying to keep a lot of looseness in there as well and not get too rigid with it. I think that's another thing that I really love about TypeCon is just that it feels like this meeting of minds in a very celebratory, informal in a good way type of thing, which is easy to lose sight of sometimes, that this is an interconnected social community of real people,
Yeah.
We're all across the world and the country and on the internet, and sometimes it starts to just feel like business, but to be reminded that this is a community and everyone's super cool and fun to be around, felt like something to lean into.
I feel like the community thing is really in that mark. A lot of times everything is so businessy and corporate, like you just mentioned, and that it has to do with clarity and legibility.
Yeah.
There's something slightly illegible about the mark that you just want to look at it longer and go, wait, what is that? That's 25?
Yeah,
But where,
right.
like you can't quite read it.
Totally.
And so it's more of like a visual puzzle that when you look at it, you're trying to like understand what the pieces are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Totally.
was that on purpose? Was that intentional?
That wasn't intentional. I
Okay.
think I just get lost in the letters sometimes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have a hard time restraining myself with the swashes and the overlaps and all the
Yes.
fun stuff.
Yeah, totally fun. So
But I figure that's where the humanity can come from
of
sometimes.
course,
Yeah.
of course. Thank you, James. That was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, of course.
I
My
love,
pleasure.
I love talking about the mark.
Yeah, totally. Me
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that.